organizing power. So let me share first one of the reasons that I love this philosophy so much. At 15 years old, I began questioning the religious stories. And I realized that they sounded like stories, but you know, the story about Santa Claus kind of sounded like some of the religious stories, and the Easter Bunny, you know, so I'm not knocking it, but I definitely started to question it as a teenager. There were stories, and for many, many years, I didn't really belong to any particular teaching. But I always said to myself, there's got to be a creative energy. This thing that we call life, our solar system, our planet, all of it, cannot just be willy-nilly. There's got to be some organizing power. There's got to be some creative energy. And so energy became my word. For many, many years, I believed in energy. That still works for me very, very well. So when I found this teaching, the science of mind teaching, and I heard my first religious science minister, Peggy Bassett, referring and using that word energy, I thought, oh, I'm home. My ears are open. I'm paying attention. Energy. Because energy is not a story. So that's one of the things that for me, that's why I do this thing called ministry, by the way, is because I want to offer for people who don't quite buy into or fit into the religious stories to have something to anchor to have something to believe in that's bigger than they are. Because I know so many people who say, well, I don't quite fit in that anymore. That's why I do this. There's an infinite, creative, intelligent energy. Next week, we'll talk more about the creative part of that energy. Today, we're talking about the power of that energy. So this book that you see me grab almost every week, it's called The Science of Mind. And some people go, huh? They don't even get past the title, The Science of Mind. I liked it because it was a different title. That's exactly why it got my attention. The Science of Mind. So let me say that this is written by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. He wrote this book in 1926. He wrote a few others before that, but this is sort of his seminal work. So let me read you a passage from this. He says, the study of science of mind is a study of first cause, spirit, mind, or that invisible essence, that ultimate stuff and intelligence from which everything comes, the power back of creation, the thing itself. Now, for some of you, calling God the thing may seem strange. For me, it felt right at home because since I had already put aside the religious stories, the stuff or the thing, it actually tickled me that somebody would use words like that to describe something that is really undescribable, that is really unnameable, and yet humans, forever it appears, have been trying to name it, have been trying to describe it, have been trying to understand something greater than we are. So the thing itself is what we're talking about here. The study of the science of mind is studying that. The first cause, what's behind it all? The energy, the infinite organizing power. So let me take a minute here and talk about the word mind. Because here we are, human beings, and we think of ourselves as, I have a mind. You have a mind, and you have a mind, and you have a mind. I know some of us might say, well, I don't know if I have a mind. You know, we have a mind. My mind, what I would call my mind, we typically think of it as our brain. Oh, but our brain is so much more than a thinker. It takes care of all kinds of other functions in our body, and our mind is so much more than our brain. Scientists have done all kinds of studies to find what they're calling our heart mind. How many of you have ever had a gut feeling? I imagine every house has hands up. Yes, you've all had gut feelings? What is that other than mind? Right? So there's an intelligence that doesn't just live in our head. There's an intelligence that lives everywhere. our body, our being. We sense it in lots of different ways. And yet, what we call our mind is still a lowercase m. My mind. Let me make a distinction between my mind, which is my thinking self or my intuitive self. It's my mind. It's quite limiting. If I apply my mind to the God mind, well, I've just limited God. And I think that's what a lot of religions have actually done. They take that phrase that says, created in the image and likeness of God, and think, well, if humans are like this, then God must be angry and jealous and petty. Right? It's like we've approached it backwards. So if we talk about my lowercase m mind and apply it to God, we've just limited it. Mind, with a capital M, is another name for us for God. Ernest Holmes, our founder, used hundreds of words for God. And mind happens to be one of them. But I want you to understand that we're not talking about my thinking, egoic mind. When we say the science of mind, what we're really saying is the exploration of God. So he could have called this book The Exploration of God. But at the time Ernest Holmes was studying and writing, there was a whole bunch of people starting to say, all right, these religious teachings are great, but can we apply them differently? Hence, New Thought. New Thought was born during the time when he was writing. There was the Transcendentalist movement going on. There was divine science. There was Christian science. There was a whole lot of uprising of, let's use this differently. So the exploration of God got opened up. I'm sure it's not the first one. It's just talking about our philosophy now. So when we say the science of mind, you must think bigger. You must think a synonym for God or synonym for that one source. So to be very, very clear, if I say the word God, I'm not referring to a being. And I notice that we get caught in that. We get caught. We say the word God, and we automatically think of something separate. Now, maybe you've studied long enough that you don't. But I still find that people refer to God as He. Because why? Because that's habit. Or they refer to God as something separate. Because why? That's habit. You know, our collective consciousness is sometimes a little tricky to break out of. But when I say God, I'm not talking about a being. When Ernest Holmes says God, he used He in that book. That was the phrasing, the pronoun used in his time. We can move beyond it. He did say, stay open at the top. So, my favorite lately is the infinite organizing power. It just sounds so magnificent to me. The infinite organizing power. Today we're talking about the power. Next week we're going to talk about the principle. And the week after that we're going to talk about the presence. The week after that, we're going to talk about prayer, a whole bunch of P's. And on the week 5, we'll do a Q&A. So each one will build on the next. So, infinite, organizing power. Let me start with the word power. Omnipotent. The only power. One power. It would only power like as in force. That's a whole different thing. Power as in energy. There is an energy that is creative. There's an omnipotent energy. And we say that there's only one of it. Therefore, any questions you might have about a devil, where would that be? Exactly. So we do not believe in any kind of a devil. If there's only one power, there can't be an opposing power. So we just let that one flush down the toilet right away. Then we come back to the word of organizing. Okay, organizing power. Omniscient. It's omniscient. So organizing. This is the part I love. Solar system. Bigger than any of us even know, and they have found many, many galaxies already. Just our little Milky Way. Have you ever seen that picture where it says, you are here? It's like a little speck of dust. Mind-blowing. Organizing. I don't know how to keep any of that in orbit. Just the fact that our planet makes this turn in 24 hours, we call it a day. We see the sun, we don't see the sun. We're the ones turning. That's all I can say. It just blows my mind. Organizing power. All right. Planet Earth, ecosystem. Ecosystem. Look at this earth. Look at the waters. Look at the trees. The way we give off oxygen, or we give off the CO2, we take in their oxygen. So many things. Just think about it. The ecosystem of our planet. If you and I had to organize that, if we were the CEO of that, well, how do you think it would be going? It would be in chaos. Your body, your human system. Pretty mind-blowing when you think about what's happening in your body right now that you are not in control of. I say this a lot, but I just trip out on it. My heart's beating. Is yours? Did you do it? We can add to that system by feeding our heart rate, but we don't have anything to do with it. When we sleep, do you know the amount of healing that's taking place when we sleep? So organizing is a big word here if you look at all those systems. And then infinite. Infinite. No beginning, no ending, invisible, visible. Again, I love to have my mind blown in this way. Sometimes I sit in meditation and I just think about this infinite, organizing power. And I calm down. Whatever might be bothering me at the time is nothing compared to the infinite organizing power. And it's everywhere. Our job is to learn to trust it.